Well, it gives me great pleasure to be sitting on the couch next to an American icon. Now, she's been labelled many things, comedian, actor, singer, but what I want to talk about is the label of queer rights activist. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Miss Margaret Cho. Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
That's good. Welcome to, well, Melbourne in particular, but Australia in general.
Thank you, I'm very excited to be here.
Margaret, can I just, look, I know you've been asked this question a million times, but how did an American Asian comedian become like the pin-up girl for all things queer?
I think, well, I grew up in San Francisco. I grew up around a lot of people who were very political in the 70s and the 80s, and then I grew up within the very, very intense period of AIDS and the devastation of that disease, and so I learned a lot about the way our community dealt with it, not only the suffering of it, but also how we dealt with it politically. And so it's a lot of different levels of learning how to be political within the queer community, and then coming out as queer myself and understanding that, and so it's a lot of different layers of things. It's my history and also my nature.
Well, do you think in some way it's being an Asian in America that you were in a minority group, that you made some connections before you identify with your own sexuality, but you maybe identify with the minority group of the queers that were surrounding you in San Francisco at the time? I mean, does it take being in a minority group to identify with other minority groups?
I think so. I think that's definitely true. And I think my family had a lot to do with it, because my parents were very, very supportive of gay rights in a very, very conservative time. If you think about what was happening in the 70s and the 80s with immigrants and everything, they were like not really in the majority. They didn't have like any kind of preconceived notions about what it was or what it meant to be gay, and so they were very accepting of it. And they hired a lot of gay employees. My father owned a bookstore in the Polk district, which was like a very gay neighborhood, and so all the people that worked for him are gay and lesbian.
So, but your parents seem to have broken the mould big time. I mean,
yeah.
To be running a bookshop, but to be immersed in that queer culture and to embrace it and have them work for them, I think is not typical of America at the time.
No, not at all. And so I was really lucky to have that example. And also I was lucky to just have grown up within the community that way.
Mm. Being immersed in that community yourself and maybe labelling yourself as a fag hag allowed you to explore your own sexuality and make you up to who you are today?
I think so. And I think as, for myself, my own sexuality is always questioned, because as a bisexual part of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community, often we are thought of as being less gay. Like kind of thought of as sort of being part-time gay, or like kind of not fully involved gay, which to me, I don't think that's right. I think, by rights, I should have by rights. So it's very, very much about really queerifying and qualifying that identity. But yeah, certainly being a fag hag opened me up to this community, but the reality of who I am also opened me up to this community.
What's the state of affairs in America, or California, but in America in general at the moment? I mean, is the Tea Party, is this a real threat?
I don't know. It's very conservative, it's very strange, but you find what's weird about the Tea Party and what's weird about the social conservatives now is there's a lot of closeted homosexuality in there. We just had another Republican, just politician, who was putting out ads for men on Craigslist. There's so many of those kind of Larry Craig style politicians who are closeted homosexuals, and then there's a new one that's going to be probably the presidential candidate for the Republican Party, which is Rick Perry, who's notorious for having his long history of gay rumors, and so that's a very strange thing about the Tea Party, is that there's a lot of closet cases in there.
See, I'm not in support of the public outing someone, or the media, completely against that, but it seems like that we need to do this to these high rollers to just show how their everyday life gay and lesbian activity is.
Well, I think that outing is something that I don't like to do either, and I think it's really up to people to come out, but in the case of these politicians who are trying to limit and stop gay rights from happening, they're trying to stop our equality by identifying this as a very kind of severe political way. It's like a really horrible thing. I mean, it's actually very bad for gay rights to have these people in office, and so they're always going to try to vote against gay rights because they don't want other people to think that they're gay, and it's really detrimental to us, and that's why it's sort of the lesser evil to go for outing.
I fucking hate Sarah Palin. I fucking hate her. Oh, it makes me so mad. At first I thought she was some kind of misguided attempt for, you know, Republicans to try to reach out to Hillary voters. Like, they think women are so fucking stupid that we'd be like, oh, vagina good. Vagina good. And I hate how she says that she tolerates gays. I hate that when people fucking tolerate gays. Oh, fuck you.
I guess that's leading me on to the next question of how important do you think it is for celebrities, sporting heroes and leaders to come out?
I think it's really important. I think it's really vitally important. I think it's important to come out, but also to acknowledge that if you're in the public eye and you are gay, you have a sort of responsibility to be an activist, that you have an activist role. And a lot of people don't want to do that. And I can't understand why they wouldn't. I mean, it's such an enriching thing and it's a beautiful thing to want to do, so I don't get it. But some people just don't want that.
Look, I saw a documentary, well, I wouldn't really want to call it a documentary, one of those current affair type news garb things that they push out. But it did this interesting project. It set up a lesbian scenario and a gay male scenario in New York City, and the same scenario in Texas, in a cafe. And what they had was the waitress start to discriminate against these same-sex couples and refuse service to. Almost 100% of the time in Texas, people actually stood up for the lesbian or the gay couple. I actually found in New York, people were less likely to stand up and defend, which is kind of an interesting observation. Have we labelled the South of America a bit wrong then? I mean, following that kind of a project?
I think that's really interesting. I live in the South, and so I am always ready to defend it. You know, there's so much progressive thinking going on, especially where I live near Atlanta. There's so much gay stuff, there's so much queer stuff, there's so much stuff that's really revolutionary. So I think there's so much of an awareness now, and that kind of consciousness around queer stuff and queer politics is growing, and so I think it's a good place.
Well, Margaret, you're here on tour in Australia with your show, The Cho Dependent, backing up from your Grammy-nominated album, featuring, I mean, look at the friends you keep, Fiona Apple, Tegan and Sarah, Arnie DeFranco, Ben Lee. How do you, I mean, are these actual friends?
Oh, yeah, they're really great people, and people that I've worked with, and like Ani, I've toured with her, and Tegan and Sarah, everybody I'm a big fan of, and Fiona's amazing, and Ben is really, he's probably my most frequent musical collaborator. He did a lot of this record, and I feel like, you know, this, if I had one producer, it would be him. I mean, he's really incredible, and we work together a lot. Actually, I'm working on a short film with him when I get back and have jet lag over there on Saturday, so it's gonna be great.
Actually, Ben doesn't appear on the track "Eat Shit and Die." Am I right in saying that? But did I see him in the clip?
Yes, he's in the audience. Yes, he's in the clip with Ione and the baby, his very young daughter, beautiful Goldie Priya, and she is Goldie Priya, and she's actually underneath the table, so you can't really see her. But she's like here, and then Ione's here, and then Ben is here. So it's a whole family, but you can't really see the baby.
The first time I saw you, I was in love, like a poison arrow shot from above. I said, I don't know what this is, but let's keep talking. Our love grew legs, and it was walking we're together. It's been a while. You lost that brightness in your smile. You say you need to work on you. Well, let me suggest what you can do. Oh, you can eat shit and die. Don't ask me why. Your love is a lie. There's no you and I. So you should try to eat shit and die.
So, Margaret Cho, the songbird, is this what we can now come to expect from you in your performance?
Well, I'll do a little bit of music, but it's mostly still, stand-up comedy, which is what I love to do and what I am very passionate about. And then, a little bit of music here and there. There's some really great songs that I get to do in the show, which I love to do live. And so I have some special guests.
Look,
here
I was
too.
surprised. I had to listen, and I wasn't expecting the vocal quality that I got. Now, I think, is she just cashed up enough to get every sound engineer in the United States to make her sound great? Because that track, each into, I actually think it's quite beautiful.
Thank
It's
you.
a beautiful
Thank you.
sounding
It's a
voice.
beautiful song, yes.
Is there some talk that Cyndi Lauper helped get this project off the ground for you?
Yeah,
or-
well, she was the one who took me on tour initially and then got me singing on stage with her. And then really encouraged my journey as a singer. And, she's somebody who's a tremendous singer. She's got 4-octave range, and, she's such a powerhouse emotionally as a singer. So she was very, very, I guess the word is instrumental in getting me to the microphone to sing. And so, help me in my process.
Can we expect a spin-off season, Captain Cameltoe?
I hope so. That would be fun. And I'm working on another album. I'm working on tracks with Ben. I'm working on something with an amazing artist, Bitch. I'm working on...
Amazing artist, bitch.
Her name is Bitch.
Okay,
She's
right.
amazing. She was on Ani DeFranco's label, and she's really, really incredible singer-songwriter and musician. And
Look at you, Miss Rockstar.
Yeah,
You are
so-
living the rock dream now,
I'm
isn't
living the rock dream. Well, to me, it's comedy music, so it's not exactly like it's the same.
But that's just
as-
one step away from pop and massive big stadium concerts.
I think so. Well, to me, it's very satisfying to do because it's sort of the same thing. Like, I love Tracy Ullman.
Yes.
And I love, just her thing, and, I love Bette Midler, too. So, and these women are definitely comedians also, so, I love that they get to do both.
Look, I just want to, in regards to the global push for queer rights, what is the answer? I mean, do we continue our fights? Do we continue our rallying? Do we continue campaigning governments? Or do we now stop giving out haircuts, no more interior designs? What is the answer? Like, are we doing the right thing, or should we step up our game?
I think we should do it all. I think it's about representing ourselves and being out there as artists and as political activists. I mean, there's so many different things that we need to do. I think everybody's got to just represent, and do what we do well and make a point about people knowing that we are who we are, and that's the best thing.
Well, we'll continue the fight. This Australia, we're leading up to a national conference in Sydney later this year, and we're hoping to mobilise 20-odd thousand people to the city of Sydney to campaign directly to the Prime Minister in December. So it's we're getting closer and closer each year, but
That's wonderful.
it's a fight that we shouldn't be having in the year 2011.
Yes.
Margaret Cho, thank you very much, darling.
Thank
You're an
you.
absolute legend. As she just gets ready to go up on the stage to perform the Cho Dependent here at the Forum Theatre in Melbourne. Margaret, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you for coming.